Thank God you came. How many more days could I wait? Make plans with you, and I won't let them fall through. I think I like.
Filming a video showing the illegal counterfeiting markets by illegal migrants in New York City on Canal Street, I attempted to ask how much they were selling a substance for on the street, and after being cussed out and my cameraman punched, we left the block and never came back. Well, it turns out this group of migrants were wanted by ICE and were targeted in a raid that erupted in the streets of New York City, and after the next day, the streets were completely clean of illegal activity, and I thought the chaos was over. However, I came back.
So, what do you do if you are a FBA and you see another person that looks like you? Hair, lips, hair, the curly hair, the wide nose, the thick lips. Oh my gosh, that's one of my people. What if one of your people was committing crime? Would you look the other way because he got the same skin as you? Or would you report him? Not report him or go along. Say, for instance, Nick Shirley, he's a white guy, right? Would you say is racism the reason he's singling these people out or what? But on this street in New York, Nick is going down, just looking at all the scamming going on the streets of New York where they selling goods. This one man walks up, proceeded to get maybe violent, but guess what? He was an illegal and he got deported. But what I don't understand, if you know your hands not clean, why are you all in the camera trying to get violent? But anyway, this is Nick Shirley in New York.
How much? Yo, what's up? We don't do no fucking camera. Hey. I can push it.
So pay attention to the guy with the gold jacket on. This guy with the gold jacket is getting so violent till the other friend had to pull him away from Nick, right? But guess what? He's out there scamming, allegedly scamming, and he's an illegal in this country. So then the other, just watch him. They're going to deport him. Here you go.
To your block? Yeah, motherfucker.
On September 7th, while filming a video showing the illegal counterfeiting markets by illegal migrants in New York City on Canal Street, I attempted to ask how much they were selling a substance for on the street, and after being cussed out and my cameraman punched, we left the block and never came back. Well, it turns out this group of migrants were wanted by ICE and were targeted in a raid that erupted in the streets of New York City, and after the next day, the streets were completely clean of illegal activity, and I thought the chaos was over. However, I came back to New York City a few weeks later, and while walking through the area, the migrants noticed me, and all hell broke out.
Scammers just recognized me. So you can't be legally vending though, all right? It's not. I don't sell.
You're saying you don't sell? Are you kidding me? Look at all your friends out here, they're all sellers.
You know he's lying.
My problem is it could be any color. If you're illegal and you come here and take over the city doing crimes, and you have a nerve to tell American citizens that you don't belong here, you don't deserve to bring your camera out and take a photo of us or video us when that's what all of them are doing, right? All of them are videotaping Nick Shirley, but they're offended with him for videotaping them, right? Nick Shirley is confronting the deported migrant scammers in New York City. Now, you see black faces, but all faces is out there. There's a lot of Asians out there, too. So he's just not targeting the melanated, where the people color, or the African, or the Haitian, or whatever. He's just on the street, just doing his job.
I ain't lying. Look at all those bags and stuff. Look at all those bags. You're the scammer. Why you tell me to get that out of here? You got your streets?
Yeah, you America, man. We all American.
Okay.
You're racist.
How am I racist?
You are racist. Why you racist, bro?
How am I racist?
That's racist. You guys just doing illegally bending.
So they call Nick Shirley a racist, same way the Samoans did. Why? Because he's breaking up them scamming. He messing up their scamming adventures. So what to do? When you want them off your back, call a white person a racist. If it's a black person like that out there like me, just confronting these scammers, then they will call me a seller. But they just want to be left alone so they can commit crime.
You're not a racist. What is wrong is wrong. What is right is right.
And while the scammers and I were going back and forth, a local who lives in the area came by. Look, now she's telling me thank you. Thank you. God bless you, man. You don't like scammers, do you?
No, I live in this neighborhood. I'm sick of these guys. They make the neighborhood garbage. They sell drugs. They sell illegal merchandise. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you, man.
Thank you.
Chaos here on Canal Street. The scammers don't even respect the police. And then all the scammers got mad at me for recording.
Just like
Right?
you're
If you're going to record me, I can record you.
So what you're
He
doing
was
is
recording
okay,
me.
but what he's doing is not okay. Is that what you're saying? That's what you're implying.
You see me recording.
Then don't get mad at me. Then don't get mad at me.
I'm not mad at you because you come here, you accuse us like
Selling counterfeit goods? Is that real proof? That's not real.
So what?
Guys,
So what?
just like you guys can record us, you can record you guys. Like,
recording.
Look at you're getting mad at me recording. Look at all these cameras. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Shut your face. See how they treat the police? They don't even care about NYPD here on these streets. Meanwhile, they're getting mad at me. I was literally talking back.
The problem I have with that, so they're going to FBI database that these are black people, right? That's one of the reasons why fundamental black American is such a great fit for our people, the ones that been here before Columbus got here, and the ones through slavery. Some of the slaves were African, you guys, blended in with American citizens. There were black people already here before slavery. So what I'm saying here is that these immigrants come here and we have a problem with that because they're not being separated. This is black right here. So when they count the crime, they blend all us up in together, right? So now the delineation has come, and that creates a problem for the other people that look like us but not citizen, right? That's my problem right there. All these crimes that they're committing, they're just going to go in the FBI database as black. When in fact, the fundamental black Americans are not committing these crimes.
To where I'm going for tonight, and I had to walk through Canal Street, and that happened because they saw the video where obviously 9 of their buddies got deported. How are you? See, now that he recognized me, this is a dangerous street for me to walk on here on Canal Street. That is no longer their block. I'm going to take it down. You heard it here first. And as I prepare to go back to Canal Street and take back the street, I want to show you the big contrast between people that support the law and other people whose empathy.
Okay, I want to speed it up. Nick decided that he was going to go on the streets, right? All right, let's see what's this.
Are being protected here in New York City?
No, absolutely not. It does rile the nerves a little bit being out here. We're not being confrontational. We're not being aggressive to anyone. We're trying to ask questions if anything, but people will always have
who claimed that his ancestors built the pyramids. I'm sorry, your ancestors had their own wonderful civilization in West Africa. They are culture appropriating my culture, calling the people.
Now this is funny. He claims that his culture his culture is being appropriated. We're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to do this objectively and academically. And I assure you, whether you're an Arab, whether you're an Egyptian today, meaning an Egyptian citizen, or your ancestry is from the most recent inhabitants of Egypt, which are Arabs who speak Arabic, we're going to clarify such that it is clear as day and it's undeniable the truth that I'm going to present to you all. So right now he's claiming that Kevin Hart cannot say that his ancestors were the pyramid building Egyptians. He's claiming that his ancestors, the Arabs, were the pyramid building Egyptians. We're going to make that as clear as day. And it'll be so plain, the evidence I'm going to present to you will be so plain that it's undeniable. But I want to continue playing this for you.
In Egypt of today, despite their skin tone, that they call us as invaders, they call us as intruders, and they are being erased from our own history. It's not about blackness.
So that's correct. You were invaders, and there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. History is really just the recounting of various wars that have occurred, and clearly the victors rewrite history. So now, let's go ahead and learn something, if you don't mind, from a teacher. So do confirm when you're able to share see my screen. I want to share with you a slide. I'm going to make this very simple. You see, one thing I pride myself on is the ability to teach anyone. So I make the lessons very simple and clear such that the facts and the truth are undeniable. So pay attention to this. Let me, so I can't full screen that. Okay, so I'm going to enlarge this here. Now, the gentleman Bassem Youssef, which is an Arabic name, which comes from the Arabic language, which is connected to the Arab people who come from Saudi Arabia, that Arab peninsula. Every person that you look at has racial features that are connected to either the Mongoloid, the Caucasoid, or the Negroid racial category. Ethnicities and histories are generally connected to racial realities, right? So now let's take a look. I've already identified for you guys in the past certain racial features that are common among a given group. Now, the Arab is not a pure archetype representing one of the racial categories. They fit best into the Caucasoid category. What you should observe from a feature standpoint, I put my photo, I put King Tutankhamun. So this is clearly one of the pharaohs from the pyramid building era of Egyptian history. And the farther back you go in Egyptian history, the blacker it gets. Now, I want you guys to notice something. Look at the lips of Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan, we can all agree, is a European white man, right? We all agree Piers Morgan is a European white man. If you look at his lips, they're pretty much non-existent. Now you look at Bassem Youssef's lips, they're also non-existent. They fit into the Caucasoid racial category. This is why you see a lot of white girls getting these lip injections, because their natural racial features leaves them with very thin lips. Furthermore, let us look at another racial feature that manifests itself in the white or European human, which I've pointed out before. Their nose comes from the brow. So this brow bone, their nose pretty much shoots down, and also they tend to have larger, bigger nose that protrude from the face. This is their racial, these are their common racial features. And I'm not saying any of this to be disrespectful, just merely factual. You look at your gentleman, Piers Morgan, you see that right here, there's the brow. There's an indentation, in fact, here, and then the nose shoots straight down, and the nose is large and protruding, which is typical of the European. Similarly, you look at this fellow right here, who indeed is Arab, so there's minor differences, but he is essentially, fundamentally one who fits into the Caucasoid racial category, as evidenced by his light-colored eyes, which is a phenotypical feature of the European. Europeans come from the colder regions that get less sunlight. They tend to be lighter in complexion. They have lower levels of melanin. Their eyes are lighter, and all of these things allow them to get more vitamin D for the sun for survival. Anyways, similarly, you'll see his nose comes from the brow and shoots straight down. There's no curvature. There's no narrowness of the nose bridge. It's a fairly wide, pronounced nose bridge. The nose protrudes and it shoots down from the brow. These are the features of the white human or the European. It's as clear as day. He has no lips whatsoever. Pierce Morgan has no lips. He has a nose that shoots from the brow. Pierce Morgan has a nose that shoots from the brow. Pierce's eyes are closed, but I'm presuming they're blue. But if not, I think we can all agree that white folks have light-colored eyes, sometimes blue, sometimes green, often brown, because light-colored eyes is a recessive feature. But the point is, these are two European types. Even this Arab fellow is a European type. Now, let's look at what's been immortalized in history. If you look at King Tutankhamun in the upper left corner, don't confuse him for me, because we have the exact same features as we both fit into the Negroid category, also today known as the African or the black man. Look precisely at this brow bone right here. The nose does not shoot down from the brow bone on King Tut, nor does he on Marquette Devon. This is what God wanted. The nose comes down smooth with curvature. You would notice this on the King Tut, and you notice it precisely the exact same way on my face. Mind you, I'm one of those Black Americans that Bassem Youssef was referring to. Further, once you get down the nose, looking at the curvature and the sloping of that nose, and you look at the actual construction of the nose, my nose looks exactly the same as King Tut's. You might also note that this is the exact nose that everyone wants to get when they go to get plastic surgery. Just side note, these are godly features here. I'm just recounting the facts. Now, you look at the lips of King Tut. I could rip those lips off, or how about this? I could rip my lips off and place them directly on top of King Tut's lips, and it's a perfect fit in terms of shape. Why is that? Because we fit into the same racial category. There is absolutely no way you can tell me that a black man looks more like a white man than a white man. That doesn't make sense. The black man in the upper right corner looks like the black man in the upper left corner. The white man in the bottom right corner looks like the white man in the bottom left corner, which is to say the Arab is more close to the European in terms of racial features. That's just all there is to it. So do not steal my history, Bassem Youssef, and all of those Arabs who purport to be Egyptians. I understand when you say Egyptian, you're referring to a specific ethnic group, a subgroup of Arabs who are now in the land known as Egypt. But you are not Egyptians, no more than the white American is an American. No more than the white Australian is an Australian. In both cases, they're generally British, Anglo-Saxon whites who come from Europe. And in the case of Bassem Youssef, he's an Arab that comes from the Arabian Peninsula, not from the African continent. The pyramid building peoples were immortalized. And that's why when you see those statues, the nose is often broken off. Why? Because the nose looks like a black man's nose, not like an Arab's nose. Now, let me tell you guys this. Do you believe that your eyes deceive you? Will this man convince you that your eyes deceive you? You can look as clear as day. Bassem Youssef has literally no lips. He has no lips to speak of. Pierce Morgan has no lips to speak of. So how do you convince us that you are the descendants of the pyramid building Egyptians when he's right there as clear as day with the fullest lips you could ever imagine? How do you convince us that you are of the pyramid building people, even if we look at the brow bone and you look at my eyebrows, which grow naturally like that, and then you look at King Tut's eyebrows, they try to convince you that your eyes deceive you. Come on. Look at Bassem Youssef's lips. Look at King Tut's lips. Doesn't matter.
So our ancestors built the pyramid. We can show receipts, y'all, scientific evidence, right? But he can't, right? So he has to fabricate a story. But just try to black us out, black out, erase your history, your history. That's what they try to do. Erase the black man's history.
In the areas that are known today as the states of Veracruz and Tabasco, one of the main things this civilization is known for is the gigantic stone head carving of their leaders. The carvings clearly depict African faces. This civilization was also responsible for introducing written language, arts, and mathematics to Mesoamerica civilization. The first of these gigantic stone heads were discovered by explorer Jose Melgar in Veracruz in 1862. He wrote,
"What astonished me was the Ethiopic type which it represents. I reflected that there had undoubtedly been blacks in this country."
At this point, the Olmec people were known for their advanced agricultural practices, monumental stone sculptures, and complex social structures. Many historians and archaeologists believe that the Olmec civilization was influenced by African cultures, as evidenced by the similarities in their art and religious practices. Enormous Olmec head statues with African facial characteristics found throughout Central and South America support that Africans had settled in America long before its apparent discovery. Ranging up to 11.15 feet in height and weighing 30 to 40 tons, these statues generally depict helmeted black men with large eyes, broad, fleshy noses, and full lips. An ancient African historian, Professor Van Sertima, has also illustrated how Olmecs were the first Mesoamerican civilization to use a written language, sophisticated astronomy, arts, and mathematics, and they built the first cities in Mexico, all of which greatly influenced the Mayans and subsequent civilizations in the Americas. Michael Coe, a leading historian in Mexico, once remarked,
"There is not the slightest doubt that all later civilizations in Mexico and Central America rest ultimately on an Olmec base."
Another clear indicator of pre-Columbian African transatlantic travel is the recent archaeological findings of narcotics native to America and ancient Egyptian mummies, which have astounded contemporary historians. German toxicologist Svetla Balabanova reported findings of cocaine and nicotine in ancient Egyptian mummies. These substances.
So what we're seeing here is that, yes, the Africans was traveling back and forth, you guys. Yeah. They are builders, master builders of boats, y'all. So what they did was they were traveling back and forth, trading with the FBAs in America, you guys. So, all over Mesoamerica, you can find these sculptures of black people in America, all over the Mesoamerica, you guys. So he didn't discover America. Black people were here across the globe, including the United States of America. We have always been here.
Known to only be derived from American plants, South American cocaine from Erythroxylon coca, and nicotine from Nicotiana tabacum. Such compounds could only have been introduced to ancient Egyptian culture through trade with Americans. Similarities across early American and African religions also indicate significant cross-cultural contact. The Mayans, Aztecs, and Incas all worshiped black gods, and the surviving portraits of the black deities are revealing. For instance, ancient portraits of the Quetzalcoatl, a serpent god, and Ecahua, the god of war, are unquestionably Negro with.
So we gotta just see, y'all, that what we've been taught in America, right? What we've been taught here in the history book is fake. That's why I don't get angry when they tell us they want to change the history book or take the books out of school. I don't get angry. It's up to you as a black person to teach your own children about your history. I'm telling y'all, I am a senior citizen and I've been through this. My grandfather was teaching me this back in the 50s, you guys. This same things, that we were originally Americans.
Skin and woolly hair. Now, why would Native Americans venerate images so unmistakably African if they had never even seen them before? Numerous wall paintings in caves in Juxtlahuaca, southwestern Mexico, depict the famous ancient Egyptian opening of the mouth and cross-libation rituals. All these religious similarities are too large and occur far too often to be mere coincidences. Professor Everett Borders, a U.S. innovator, notes another very important indication of African presence, which is the nature of early American pyramids. Egypt is famous for ancient pyramids, but the Americas actually have more pyramids than any other place in the world. But the Egyptian pyramids are much older and show signs of progress.
Why is it that, y'all, when we think of a pyramid, we think of Egypt, we think about the Africans, the continent of Africa, where more pyramids and mounds are here in America? Just think about that. We have to deprogram ourselves for everything that we learned, you guys. And we have to teach it to our children.
As from the earliest pyramids built to the more sophisticated and enormous pyramids that are now famous. However, the pyramids found in Central America do not show the same level of progress. That suggests that whoever built the American pyramids had already mastered pyramid building by the time those pyramids were built, which points the finger to Africans who likely sailed over to the Americas with that knowledge and constructed them in America. The earliest known pyramid in the Americas is found in Tabasco, Mexico, and was built by the Olmecs, the same civilization known for the gigantic stone heads. Therefore, the great ancient civilizations of Egypt and West Africa traveled to the Americas, contributing immensely to early American civilization by importing the art of pyramid building, political systems, and religious practices, as well as mathematics, writing, and a sophisticated calendar. Furthermore, archaeologists have discovered ancient skulls and skeletons that they believe belonged to people of African descent. In a 1975 publication by the New York Times, it is stated that a Smithsonian Institution team reported finding 2 Negro male skeletons in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The soil from the earth layers in which the skeletons were found was dated around 1250 A.D. Polish professor Andrzej Wiercinski has also testified to the discovery of African skulls at Olmec sites. More ancient skeletons that archaeologists believe are Africans have also been discovered in other locations in Central and South America, further pointing to the fact that Africans had known America's soils way longer than we were made to believe. Most historians, archaeologists, anthropologists, and other scientists and scholars now know that Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. Not only were Native Americans present when he reached the New World, but also Chinese, Phoenicians, and Europeans, among others, had been